over there, fool.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year to you, sir. What's going on,
Yeah,
bro? Made it
much,
to
and happy-
2026. God has been good to let us see another year. How about that?
Definitely. And Happy New Year to everyone who's made it over. We were blessed to make it over.
Yeah, real talk, man. You know, you look, especially it's interesting that I always see it happen every year. You get to the close to the end of the year and people start dropping like flies, man. I'm like, Lord have
Yeah.
mercy,
Yeah.
Jesus. And here's the crazy thing about it. So you get older and you start seeing people who are younger than you dropping like flies. You're like, Lord,
That gets real crazy at that point.
yeah, man. I'm like, what is happening right now? But God is good. We here. I'm glad. I'm glad to be here to be able to do what He wants us to do, and in terms of having conversations and helping people out with relationships and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm not. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
good.
Blessings.
No doubt.
So that said, sir, it brought something to my attention. So I'm gonna throw this out here, but I will make a few disclaimers along the way.
Oh,
But so yesterday, the network called TLC, right? You know the TLC.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They dropped a I want to say it's like I guess a documentary, and it's called The Cult of the Real Housewife. The Cult of the Real Housewife.
Okay.
Now, how this is all comes together. For a short time, I would say for under 2 years, I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, right? Back probably, I want to say 2013-ish, 12, 13, or whatever, somewhere up in there.
Yeah.
So when I went there, I naturally coming out of the Christian church and coming up Pentecostal. When I was there, I started looking for churches, right?
Mhm.
And so when I was looking for churches, most of the churches I discovered were what do you call them?
Mormon.
Yes,
Mormon
they were
churches.
Mormons. And
Like
so
I said.
on that subject, I didn't realize how vast that
Oh, yeah.
organization. When I tell you,
especially in Utah.
yeah, like in our
Yeah.
community, you may say, oh, they go Wheeler Street Baptist down the street. Okay, they go so and so over there.
Right.
But in the Mormon community, they literally had churches built per like let's just say like when you lived in Upper Marlboro, your subdivision had a church. That's
Okay.
how like if you riding up and down the highway, you saw steeples throughout neighborhoods. I had never seen that like that. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's where their headquarters at. That's where their headquarters.
Yes, and their whole headquarters place is just a wicked large looking place. I drove past it and I was like, man. But
Wow.
to make a long story short, I was Googling one day because I wanted to go to church. Like when I'm not working on a Sunday, I didn't want to just sit home, right? So I'm looking around. Don't try to laugh.
You're trying to be saved.
Yeah, I tried. I was looking around, and so I saw this one church. And I hadn't been there, but I was just looking at the words. It was a Pentecostal church. So in my mind, I'm thinking the odds of finding people that look like me would probably be great. Even if there's a few, I'm in Utah, so it's a 50-50, right? Catch up. So I found this church and it was called Faith Temple.
Okay.
in Salt Lake. So when I pulled up, I saw a lot of cars in the parking lot. That was a good sign. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
so it's a decent vibe in here.
Mhm.
I go in the church. Now this is gonna come full circle. I go in the church. People were very welcoming. It was thriving. Kind of reminded me of the atmosphere of where I grew up. Like a lot of people, everybody's loving on you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
praise God, all that kind of stuff was
Yeah,
going in play.
yeah.
Because I'm thinking, okay, maybe the connection is connecting because how I grew up.
Okay.
So, I looked around and the first thing that caught my attention was so many people. It was so many people that were like, it was a perfect blend of age groups. It wasn't just old folks, all ladies. It was like you had a lot of men, you
Okay.
had women. I had never seen a balance like that, other than kind of maybe at my home church where you
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
a balance
The
of a
balance
lot.
of yeah.
And so when I was just like, man, this is unique. And then the people people were beautiful people. There wasn't like no tide and people look, they were
Right.
thriving people that worked, and they were attracting people that was excited about God, which was different.
Okay.
So most of the times when we come from home, it always looks like the people that are on fire for God have a reason to be. You
Right.
get my drift? That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
looks
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So I was just like, wow. So I'm listening, and I'm like, I have visited a few Sundays. The people were welcoming. I think the first Sunday I went there, they invited me to dinner. Like after
Oh,
the
wow.
church was over, they kind of
Wow.
embraced me. Oh, look at your suit, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So fine, still ain't nothing. It's cool.
Uh-huh.
Now, where the first flags start raising a little
Uh-oh.
bit
Uh-oh.
is I heard them in the conversation talking, and when they were when they were up there on this pulpit, or they're praising God or coming out of a praise,
Mhm.
I would hear them refer to the name Mama. That threw me off because first I'm
Okay.
thinking, okay, is this an elder lady somewhere around here that you're paying homage to, or maybe passed away? That's not uncommon in the black church, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
true.
fine. But I heard it a lot. So
Okay.
it began to say, all right, wait a minute. So is like, okay, this is Pentecostal. So that threw me. So it's a Pentecostal banner.
Uh-huh.
You talk about all of the salvational attributes that I was familiar with, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking, okay. But as I kept listening, that ear was keen. I was like, something is not jiving. I couldn't put
Mhm.
my finger on it, but I was like, something is just a little different. So when I happened to find out about this documentary that was dropping on the current pastor and first lady, the first lady is like the assistant. I guess she's the pastor and I think they're co-pastors or whatever, however that looks.
Alright.
But she for somehow found herself on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Her name is Mary Cosby, right? She
Mhm.
was on there. I had maybe seen her probably. This is another flag. Maybe the few months that I had frequented their church on a Sunday or maybe a Bible study, I hardly saw the leaders. I
Okay.
just saw a lot of the co-pastors, or I mean
Okay.
the associate pastors. So I was
Yeah, yeah.
like, well, a church this size, where are the leaders, right? That's what
Mhm.
I was thinking first. So I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm thinking about that, and so then as time goes on, the Mary lady is on the Housewives, and I think that caused a stir. Everybody
Mm.
was like, "Wait a minute, what the heck is going on? Why is this person going on the Housewives?" Right? That's typically not in our community to see it like that, right?
Okay.
So I think that opened up Pandora's box.
Mm.
Everybody started asking questions, and so the biggest thing came out of this, Adam. Now I found out this way after I had left. I wasn't there. I didn't know any of this when I was there. But to make a long story short, the lady who founded Faith Temple in Salt Lake City,
Mhm.
uh, uh, they referred to her as Mama, right? Her
Mm.
name was Mary as well. I believe that's her name was Mary, but they
Mhm.
referred to her as Mama.
Mhm.
She married I guess a minister or elder that was 20 years younger than her.
Oh. Oh.
Now, and I think
Ooh.
she was reluctant. I'm going to drop the thing in the comment. I'm going to drop the documentary in the comments in a few. But the point I'm
Okay.
making, and we can jump off of this. When she passed on, the husband, Robert Cosby, relayed the message to the church. And he said, Mama would have had it for me to marry the lady who is known now as Mary Crosby, which would have been his granddaughter. She's the
Wow.
granddaughter of the mama that passed. You get my
Wow.
drift? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and so one question for me that was answered, because I had my own thoughts swirling and it was all crazy, period. But
Mhm.
the one thing that was answered for me was I was stuck on the whole mama theory, and because nobody came and confronted it and really talked about it. So,
Right.
I wasn't there. I didn't meet the lady, so I couldn't ask her. So I was just like, what's this about?
Right.
So when
Right.
I heard the documentary, as soon as it came on, my question was answered. I'm
Okay.
gonna show y'all really quickly, and we can jump off of here. Hold on. All right, let me see. Just listen to the words in the beginning, and this is gonna tell it all.
Well, there is one God, for there is one God, and one mediator between God and man. Who do you think that is? You. I don't know. I ain't saying, but you ain't coming back unless you come for me. I know that.
Ooh-wee. Now, that right there was strong. And that right there to me said it all. And so basically she was quoting scripture, which is in the word, right?
Right.
That scripture is there.
Yeah.
But in the context of it, she took it to mean like when this mediator that he's going to come back through was me, right?
Mm.
And so
Mm.
that explained to me the reverence of her as being like a deity.
Okay.
And that's where I was confused about it first, because nobody came out and was honest about it. So when I saw that, I said, oh, makes now it all. Look, I didn't really have to see no more of the documentary. To me, that
Yeah.
was the benediction.
Yeah.
But as I went throughout it, because, and I'm only saying that because in all disclosure, I didn't personally know Mary Crosby. Like I didn't
Mhm.
personally have a relationship with her or Robert. I wasn't a
Mhm.
member of the church. I just visited a few times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I don't have no qualms. Oh, no kind of, I'm not coming for her or anything. My only question about this whole thing had to do with just doctrine. That
Mhm.
was my only concern. Like, is it true or false doctrine? And once
Yeah.
once I figured out back when I was visiting there that I felt something was off, that's what made me kind of retract and not go back, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this was that. But I just found that thing to be so deep, how fast forward here this thing is on the front page, right? And I was there. I know a lot of the people that were in the documentary and everything. It's just like, wow, one of the guys was my barber. One of the guys I was doing music with him.
Wow.
I knew a lady, and it was a lot. So yeah,
Wow.
but
Wow.
I was just like, wow. So all I can say, Adam, and I'm gonna circle this in. I don't know what it is or what is over the horizon that God has, later for me or now. But I will say
Okay.
that to say this. When I think of instances like this,
Mhm.
that I obviously beat the turn on, right? Because God surely got me out of Utah quick and sent me to Chicago. But I'm just making the point. Because I could just think about it. I always say I could have been laxed in my brain
Right.
and fell into like it's something like anyone else could. We
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
No matter how much I was raised a certain way. Look,
Right.
if you allow yourself to get catered to in a specific way, anybody can get twisted and finessed, right? If you're
Mhm.
not careful.
Mhm.
So, but I think about that instance. I think about the other religious instance where I told you where the leaders were trying to do the lay down game. Remember I told you
Oh,
about
wow.
that?
Yeah.
So when I think about these things, I'd be like, what gives? But anyway, I'm not gonna say this and we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna drop the video. But I think y'all should I think everybody should look at it. Churches should look at it, members, only because it is a teaching moment. It's a moment to bring you to awareness to kind of self-check things. Because truth be told, anyone that finds themselves in a position to abuse power
Mhm.
can find themselves in what we call a slight cult or a sect. right?
Okay.
If you
Okay.
find yourself abusing the power and you're taking the focus away from God onto yourself,
Right.
now we're in a different stratosphere of issues. You know,
Yeah.
that's all I got to say on that.
Oh, that's all. That's all you got to say.
I'm not gonna keep. You got something to say? Go ahead, Mr. Ford. You know, you're the preacher man. So, what are your thoughts on it? Yeah, since you want to be preaching.
Since I'm gonna be preaching. since we it's apparent to me in 2026 this is the direction that we're going in for whatever reasons. But let me just do it like this. John chapter number 14, verse number 6 says, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
Wow.
I don't think I need to say anything else other than that.
Wow. Yeah.
Real talk, right?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, you're going to have a whole bunch of you're gonna have a whole bunch of con men and charlatans who are posing as a messianic deliverer.
Wow.
But there's only one Jesus.
Wow.
And he's in heaven at the right hand of the Father.
Yeah.
Anybody else who promotes himself over Jesus, you might want to start running. You might want to start packing your bags.
It's dangerous, man. It makes you
and checking out, man, because the reality is they not real. I guarantee you they will lead you astray. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to know the word for yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? Study the word. So you can be a workman that needeth not be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth, and then be discerning.
Wow.
Making sure that your spiritual antenna are up and that they are sharp and that they are sensitive to the flow and the move of the Holy Ghost. That you don't find yourself in a strange land.
Yes, under strange doctrines. Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Man,
I can go further than that, but I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna leave that right there. But yeah. We need to make sure that we are aware of where we are, not just physically, but spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm gonna leave that right there.
Wow. All right. So that said, Mr. Ford, today's show, we're talking about navigating her. We're talking about the woman, that is. The list, the timeline, and the expectations. The list, the timeline, and the expectations. The reason why I set this up the way I did like this, Adam, because of course this is we got Bruce here, we got you, Adam, and whomever out there in radio land listening that maybe of the
just say radio land.
Yes,
what about the interwebs? The interweb, they on the interwebs?
The interweb, we in the radio land. But anyway, so no, I'm only saying that to say, to me, I have found that a lot of times when it comes to a woman, those are three of the key focus areas. There's a list that exists that a lot of times that men aren't aware of. The other women are, other family members, maybe even a church leader can be aware of it. But the man just has to happen to be the suitor, or he gets passed over because he doesn't align with the list, right?
Okay.
So, and then you have the timeline. We're going to break all this down. The timeline is like you said, Adam, it's like, and you had some good questions that we'll bring back to you. So the timeline is basically, from my perspective, is, let me just say what I wrote. So I'm going through all this. All right. So the timeline is basically the time that the woman has reserved in her mind for the relationship or the relationship to move from one point to another point that pleases, right?
Okay.
To another point. And then the expectations are all of the things that take place throughout said relationship to bring all of this into fruition, right?
Okay.
So I mean, this is gonna be good. So if I had to start one way and I'll throw the ball to you, I'm going to start at the list. And this is how I look at the list. Yes, we're not women. We're just men giving our perspective on this. All right.
And do me a favor too. I need you to differentiate between what's the difference between the list and the expectation.
I will do so. All right. The list is okay. Let's just say okay. So for me, I see the list as I want him. I'm just randomly saying this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be. I need him to at least be over 6 feet, right? I
Mm-hmm.
need him to be a God fearing man.
Mm-hmm.
I need him to be tall, dark, and handsome, bald head, whatever the case, right? I need him to have a little bit of thug in him. I need him to have 6 figures. I need him to drive a BMW. I'm just making this happen.
Right.
I need him to be able to put me in this house. And some people will come out and say, I want to marry a preacher. I want to marry a pastor.
Okay.
Whatever the case is, the list is just basically personal preferences that women align themselves to when looking for the opposite sex, right?
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I see that part. It's a subliminal list that exists. And here's the funny part. The funny thing about this list, Adam, is over time, it appears to me that this list alters as age alters.
Okay.
The younger, like there's a younger part where there's probably not even a list. 20 to such and such, probably no list. 30 to 40, there's a strong list, right? After 40, on and on and on, there's a subliminal list, but it alters because you live life a little bit. You may have been married before, you may have been there, done that, whatever. So you may be a little less rigid on certain things that you were once tight on, right?
All right.
And so I'm just guessing. Y'all can feel free to keep me honest. So that's that. All right. And so the timeline to me comes into effect once the list has made contact with the said recipient, right? When the list makes contact with the person of interest and you agree that this is what we're going to do and we're going to move this along. Funny enough, sometimes men are made aware of the timeline, sometimes, and sometimes they're not. But it's a subliminal thing that the woman is holding, and she knows when said things should occur, but she may not have told him, right? And it's just going along to go along, and then those expectations. When we get into the expectations are different from the list because the list is who he is. The expectation is what he should do.
Okay.
Yeah. The list is who he is. The expectations is what he should do. The timeline is when he should do it.
Got it.
Who, when, and what. Yeah, basically. So, so when we get to this point, the one thing I'm saying, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to toss it over to you. Is when I think of lists, this is how I look at it. Think about how we were young and raised and how our parents, or you would see your mom say, when I'm ready to go to the grocery store, what do we need around this house? Make sure I forgot. Let me look in my cabinets. Let me look in the refrigerator. She makes a list, right? But the unique thing about the list, Adam, is she's looking for previously established necessities that she already keeps on hand at home, right? And the key part to it, she's not making a list that she doesn't have the money to afford.
Say that one more time.
She's not making a list for the store to go in there and not have the money.
Got it.
She's making a list of things that she's saying to herself, if this is my list and I'm wagering this against what I need in my home, i.e. what I need in my life, are these things necessities that I normally keep sugar, flour, I normally keep bread, milk, you know what I'm saying? I normally keep meat in the freezer, blah, blah, blah. Are these necessities that I can afford myself? Or am I depending on someone else to pay this grocery bill? You know what I'm saying? And so I say that because when we are putting together our list, I often wonder, can your life pay for what's on the list? You understand what I'm saying? That's all I think.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just go through some of the questions that I had in regards to this topic, and we can
go from
we can discuss it as we go. Yeah. So this first set of questions off in regards to the list, and basically just these two questions. What does the list mean to her? You know, I know we make a list often, in terms of what we need to get done or what we need to buy or where we need to go or what goals we might have. So the question that you have to ask yourself, that I want everybody who's listening right now or watching us, what does the list mean to you? What does it mean to her? And I think
Mm.
as boyfriends, as husbands, we need to understand, what does this list mean to my spouse? What does this list mean to my
Wow.
girlfriend? What is this? What does this mean to you?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have an understanding of what this list is, then how can you possibly meet the list? How can you get the things on the list that she's asking for, right?
Wow.
Next question. What should the list mean to the man? I just did that. Why should I be concerned about this list that you made? I didn't make this list. Why should
Wow.
I make the effort to get the things on this list? I'm
Wow.
just throwing out questions.
That's
I'm just throwing
good.
out
That's
questions. I'm
good.
just throwing out questions. So the next one is in regards to the timeline. The timeline is, what is the timeline? Okay, how much time are we talking about here? We talking
Mm.
about months? We talking about years? We talking about
Mm.
weeks? What is my time frame? What are we talking about? When are you looking for these particular things to happen? And
Wow.
how soon should they happen? Are you looking for an accelerated time schedule? Are you looking for a more protracted time schedule? Are you looking for a schedule where we can actually take the time to do what we need to do? Just again, what is the timeline? All right.
Mm.
Um, Here's the next question. How committed is she to the timeline? Is there any room for an adjustment in the time? So if certain things don't happen by a certain time frame or a certain deadline, are you versatile and adaptive enough to adjust your timeline?
Mm.
I'm just asking a question. That's all I'm doing. Okay, next question. Why is the timeline important to her? Why must we meet certain deadlines
Mm.
by a certain time?
I mean, what's it hinged upon?
Yeah, what is the impetus? What is the thrust of this timeline being fulfilled?
Mm.
Why is the timeline important to you? Okay. Next set of questions, my last two. In regards to expectation, does she understand why she expects what she expects?
Mm.
Again, this is based off of maybe having been in previous relationships, and the reason why you expect what you expect is because of what has happened to you previously, and because of those previous experiences, now you have an expectation of this
Mm.
particular thing.
Mm.
Okay,
That's
and so
good.
it's important that we understand why we expect what we expect,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
because we expect it, but there's got to be a reason why I expect what I expect, right? Last question. Does she, and this is a twist right here, I'm going to flip it real quick. Does she value my expectations as her partner as much as she values her own expectations? And what
Wow.
I mean by that is, okay, I know you have your expectations and they are important to you, but if we're in this relationship together as a partnership, as boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife,
Yeah.
do you value my expectations? Because I'm walking into the relationship with expectations as well. Do you value my expectations as much as you value mine? Or is it all about what you want and your expectations? And
Wow.
it's nothing wrong with being honest about that,
Yeah.
So
I think honestly, those are excellent questions, and I think, me personally, I feel like it's a culture thing for women to have this list, right?
okay,
It's a
okay,
culture thing for them to have this list, and truth be told, most of the times, a lot of men don't know. have no
Mhm.
clue what this list is.
Right.
It's either the only way you somewhat find out is if you happen to approach them, they kind of oblige your advance, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
then sometimes women, when you're talking to a woman that has obliged your advance, when you're talking to them, it'll start to slowly seep out whether they like the fact that they like your height. Oh, you seem like you this kind of person. Oh, you this God guy. You this that. Now you're hearing list attributes, but you
Okay.
have no clue of them unless you engage.
Right.
It's not like a woman walking around with a sign. You know how like we can okay, there's Walmart. We know what's in there.
Yeah.
There's Target. There's all these other stores. We can kind of identify who they are and their brand and what they carry by how they advertise.
Right.
Women move through life and they just look like a woman, but they don't. Now I will say nowadays it's kind of becoming evident what's being sold, but a lot of times we don't know. We don't know
Right.
It doesn't say good wife. I can rock with you until
Right.
it gets bad, then I'll leave.
Right.
Not devoted wife. You don't know, right? You
Right.
just
don't know.
looking at a person and it's a gamble. So the one thing I always think about when it comes to a list, which I always say the list is the who. The list, if the list is jaded, if it's wrong, if it's toxic driven, then the timeline is toxic, and so are the expectations.
True that.
That's why, to me, the list conversation is probably your most important assessment of self, right?
Okay.
The list, because it's like, why are you choosing and why are you aligning these things the way you are?
Yeah.
And what are they based off of?
Right.
And then I would also say, this is something that we probably heard people say this over and over again, but it's very valid because a lot of times, to me, Christmas is the only time we ask for things, especially as a kid, from our parents that we know we can't afford to buy.
Okay.
We just want a PlayStation 5, all these expensive things,
Right.
remote control is all these things that we don't have the money for, but we hoping Santa brings them.
Okay.
In relationships, some women can have an idea of a wish list.
Okay.
But in many times, the women themselves are not in alignment with that list. It's just what I think I deserve.
Okay.
It don't have nothing to do with what I have.
Right.
I'm a woman. I'm a good woman. I'm great. I was raised by Robert Lee this and Mary so-and-so. So
Okay.
I'm good stock. I deserve this.
Okay.
And it doesn't have anything to do with what they can bring. People don't like to bring to the table, whatever. We're not going to get into that. But what they can bring to the conversation, to the table, has nothing to do with that. It's just my list of what I feel is a suitable suitor for me that I'm looking for.
Okay.
And it kind of goes from there. And so that's why it's important to hash that part out before you go to saying this is exactly what I'm looking for and what I need.
Right.
Yeah.
No, those were good, and it's interesting because, yeah. So here's the thing that kind of popped in my head while you were talking, and that is the fact that is the list that we have for a potential spouse. Is it something that we see others have? Now, let's be honest. A lot of us are influenced by what we see on TV, especially now with social media being what it is. Is our list based off of, Lord have mercy, I'm about to do this thing. Is our list based off of the relationship goals?
Bruce is crazy. Good.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The whole relationships goals thing, I got this, I want to be in a relationship and these are the goals that I have. And, I'm about to say something real dumb. I don't think I ever told you the story, but anyway, years ago, I was dating somebody and, I remember them talking about, and I know this was a popular thing back in the day. I think it probably still is. Doing a vision board. Remember doing a vision board,
yes.
And you go and you get your you get your magazine cover or whatever like that, and you cut out, places that you want to go, stuff that you want to have, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, the heck is going on? What are we doing? What are we
You're a
doing?
vision boy.
Kindergarten,
Wow.
finding, we want to do it. I'm like, man. And I think, and see, so what you end up doing is you end up creating a list that's not based in reality.
Wow.
Because you see all these other things, you see what other people are doing. Ooh, relationship goals. You see whatever people have, but your list is not, it's not predicated upon who you are and where you are and how you are. It's about what everybody else has. And I think we often make a mistake basing our list off of things that aren't realistic.
Mm.
They aren't realistic.
Mm.
You want somebody that makes six figures. You barely make $20,000 a year. What are we talking about? Which means you don't float in the same circles as everybody else does.
Ooh.
People that you're looking for, that you want them to make six figures, but you only make 20,000.
Wow.
You're not even in the same sphere.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm just using it as an example. What I'm saying is this: be realistic about what you're trying to do. Be realistic. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have goals.
Don't have love goals. You got.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have goals.
Yeah.
But how realistic in accomplishing those goals is it going to be for you? That's all I'm saying, because you don't float in the same circles. You want all this stuff. You got this. You got a whole book for a list. You got a whole book, and you got all this stuff on this list, but it ain't realistic for you to be going after this stuff. It's not.
Wow.
And so now we need you to come back down to earth and reassess the list that you made. That's all I'm trying to say. Here's the other thing: is the list based off of how you were raised? The reason why I say that is because often a lot of our relationships are based off our parental upbringing, right? How did daddy treat us? How did mama treat us? How did our siblings treat us? And often our relationship in terms of our dynamic is based off of family upbringing. We can't deny that. That is the reality that we live in. And so we need to make sure that when we're doing our list, that we don't allow some of the negative and toxic things that happened in our family, because we all have had that, right? We've all had those dealings with our family that wasn't always the best. And so we have to be aware of those things and not allow those things to, I guess, color and filter into our list. Because what ends up happening is when we do that, then we create a list that's got a little toxic slant to it. You know what I mean? It ain't completely bad, but a little bit of it is not so good. And so I think that's something that we got to be aware of. And then the whole idea of what I deserve, man. What you deserve. What do you think you deserve? What you think you deserve in terms of what your list is? And again, it goes back to the whole idea of it being in reality. What you deserve it's not what you get. Let's be real. What you deserve, is not what you're gonna get.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So let's be realistic in our making our list. Again, I'm not saying don't make lists. I'm just saying let's be a little more realistic with what we're trying to look for.
Yeah, I think, and those are some great points. I think the hard fight here, Adam, that I hear in the ether is that aiming high has been something that has been embedded in women from day one. When I say aim high, it's like if I can remember going back to my childhood, I remember my mom having a conversation with my sister that's probably closest to me in age, Kim. And I remember her telling Kim about Kim wasn't really at the time in love with this guy who, for all accounts and purposes, he was real cool. His name was Vincent. Real cool guy. I liked Vincent. But Vincent had some issues, and Vincent was not in a position, to be honest. He was half working. He wasn't in a position to say, come on, Kim, let's get married and move on about our life.
Right.
He was a cool guy. But he
Okay.
just, and then that was, and I noticed that as a kid, he just wasn't in position. But I remember my mom saying to her, she was trying to talk sense into my sister, and she was telling her, Kim, you want somebody that can do something for you, and you don't want to be living from hand to mouth. You want to, she was just trying to say, get you someone who can put you first and put you in this position, in short.
Okay.
So when women are listening to that kind of rhetoric coming up, Sean, Sean knows Vincent, but when you hear that kind of rhetoric coming up, it stays in your mind. And so even if women aren't at positions to say to themselves, like you were hinting to saying, while wishing for something that's out of your reach, right?
Yeah.
But you see, women look at it like, I am the reach. I am the table. I'm just being honest.
I got you.
And when I say I am the reach, a woman is saying, I'm beautiful. I'm this. I'm great. I can care for you. I can nurture you. So I think what we as men are missing from their language, even though they may appear to aim high, they put financials, not money per se, but they put status on attributes, where we put status on dollars or what you bring. Women are saying, my attributes pay for this. This is the kind of woman I am. I'm invaluable because I possess these things. This is at base level without me telling you where I work or how my credit is. This is just who I am. My essence is expensive, Adam. That's what they're saying in so many words. And so I think this is where men and women get confused, because just like you said, there are a lot of women that could be, let's just say, they work at Walmart, but they are waiting for the man to come through there that's a millionaire, because he's gonna like me. I'm promising you, they're thinking he's gonna like me because I'm this, that, and the other, and he's gonna take me on. And so it's just like, but truth be told, here's another conversation that men don't disclose as much as they probably should. And when we do hear this, we usually hear this comment as a rebuttal to a heated conversation. And that is, most of the times, the reason you do end up finding that millionaire, this kind of guy, or that guy that have a bag, or he owns a business, and then when he comes to the Christmas party, he's bringing the lady that you say, don't she work at the cashier at CVS? But he's an esteemed figure. Now, she's attractive, but she worked at the counter at CVS. And it's throwing people off as to saying, well, why doesn't he have another CEO type woman in here with him? The thing that a lot of men don't say is, yes, we don't want you slapping us in the face with this list that makes us feel like we either pass the test or we don't, right? But we don't necessarily go out looking for a woman showing us numbers. We go out, we are visual, and we like to take you in context, meaning if we like what we see, we like the vibe you make us feel. A lot of times you can get men right there, right? If you hold it steady. And that doesn't necessarily have a price tag on where you work or what you get a year. And I think this is why I think if a lot more men, we're not saying we don't want help, because I believe a woman that's considered a help should be a help in some way to a man's life. I don't believe in somebody just showing up being liabilities to each other, right? We should be a help in one way or another, even if it's not entirely financial. It should be a help. But the point is, I think we Sean said she gotta be
Sean. Come on, Sean.
No, but come on, Sean. But real talk. Think about it. A lot of men, Sean Talbot, Bruce, listen, men have chosen women throughout life who did not measure up to them close, not even close financially. But they dated them because they liked them or they were attracted to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And listen, understand, I'm the whole financial aspect, I'm not necessarily, I'm not holding on. I mean, I'm holding on. That's not my point. My point is, you're not even in the same sphere that they're in.
And you saying
You're not in the
what do
same
you mean?
circle of people
Okay,
to
got it.
possibly meet somebody like
Got
that,
it.
right? And I think what we do is we try to. So Richard Gere and Julia Roberts kind of messed it up for everybody with the Pretty Woman picture.
Yes.
Because
Oh man.
everybody wants that knight in shining armor to come riding on his white steed
And
to
delete
rescue
your life
them
and upgrade you.
from wherever that they are.
Correct.
But again, that's a movie. That's not reality, ladies and gentlemen. Can we come back to reality for a minute? And deal with the reality of where we are. What happened to what happened to building up ourselves to walk into certain places so that we have the possibility of meeting people? But if you stay in the same spot that you're in, you're always going to meet the same people that you meet every day. It's always going to be the same circle of people until you break out of that place into a whole new place. And it means coming out of a place where you're not necessarily familiar with everybody. It means going somewhere else. That's not to say that you can't meet a quote unquote millionaire in Walmart. Not even my point.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, not even my point. And I want us to kind of move beyond the whole financial issue. Now I know that for some of us, it is the issue. It is the issue. You know what, Bruce. Boy, using a 4 I can't. Lord help us. I don't forgot my thought. Messing with him.
But he did it, but he simplified it. And that's that when you because I was asking about the spear part where you were talking about. And so that's what he's basically saying. It's like we don't even identify on certain levels, certain circles, certain etiquettes. Those things do matter.
They do. But you know what happens? You know what happens? We get caught up on the physicality of the person. As men, let's be honest. We get caught up on the physicality of the woman that we see.
Correct.
And when she hits our list and she's checked off everything on our list physically, the rest of the list in regard to her intellect, her emotions, her spirituality goes out the window. Because as far as we're concerned, what we see
passed the physical test.
Hey,
yeah,
she got it. I'm good. Her physical numbers are right. Hey, I'm all right. Let's go.
But then, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then 5 years later, you can't talk to her.
That's
y'all
it.
Y'all don't want to talk to me.
That's it.
Y'all don't want to talk to me. I'm about to make y'all mad real quick. And then does she pray on a regular basis? Does she have the Holy Ghost? Do you know about her faith and her salvation? You don't care about her salvation. What you saw is what you wanted. So you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that, again, we can't even talk about what she's bringing to the table financially. Because again, that went out the window. You didn't even take a moment to check that out because what you saw was what you wanted. Lips, hips, and fingertips. Hello, somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let it go.
No, that's real. No, listen, that right there is the whole sum of the matter. Most of us men, once we realize we are on someone's list, like you're a list candidate, right? You're a list candidate. Once you're a list candidate, us men now at this point, it's like if we approach you, we think you're attractive. A lot of that stuff becomes a blur. The timeline, all we know as men is you sure look good. And I'm telling you, the fact that part of our dichotomy, Adam, has messed up many men for years because honestly, what it does is it causes us to look at the things that do matter. Now, no, that's not mistaken. Looks does matter.
They do.
But it is not the entirety. Exactly. And so because of how we are wired, when we see someone who physically checks all the boxes, it puts like everything else is in a much lower perspective. Unless she has something about her that's just gaping that you can't ignore.
Right.
And drum roll, her mouth. But anyway, honestly.
No, wait a minute. Second drum roll. Her attitude.
Yes, mouth and attitude can those are the only kind of two. No, one more. Mouth, attitude, disrespect.
Oh,
Those are the things that will cause men to say that you fine, but because those are the things that we know. We may like looking at you and being in your presence, but if you can't temper these three things, it's going to make it difficult for me to be around you.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's an important thing. And so I just think that, you know, we have to work on that as men. I mean, having that talk with yourself. Yes, the physical is important, but I need these other attributes.
Yeah.
She can be beautiful, but can I be her friend? Can we talk? Can we laugh? Can we do simple things and be content? One of the biggest things, Adam, that we as men and women fall into when choosing people is we choose people that fix us in the interim, but not the long haul. And what I mean by that is, how many of us have met people, been with people that you can say, oh, we went out, we went to the movies, we did all of these things, and then when you get home, it's crickets. You sitting on the couch looking at TV, looking at your watch on social media because there's nothing in common. There's nothing in common, and you just like, what's this for? Like, what are we here for? We hung out. Here's the famous line when you should think about as a red flag. Interest may not be where you think it is. When you're in the company of a man or woman and you guys are just calling yourself chilling, and one person turns and say, so what you about to do? They don't like you like that.
Wow.
When they say what you about to do, that means what we came together for, we did. Now I'm going to do what I want to do. So what you getting ready to do? Because I don't like you like that. And I think when we learn to take those cues, Adam, we'll be better people. Because a lot of times we miss the cues and we force on people what we want, but we don't listen to what's what.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Maria
all up in the comments, man. What is going on?
Maria is distracting the show.
What is
I'm teasing Maria. I'm teasing, but no. What did Maria say? She says,
listen what she
disobedient
said.
and non-submissive.
Non-submissive.
Oh, you know,
that's
for real. Because listen, a man will be lying if he didn't want a woman that didn't respect his voice.
True that.
And I don't mean respect his voice as in being like a caveman and Fred Flintstone. I'm talking about his voice has influence with her. Like if he talks to her or if he's trying to make a
she gonna listen to him. Right.
Yes, because a lot of times if we notice, look at social media and all these, even if we just out and you see people call themselves having a disagreement, the guy may be saying something, and I'm saying to myself, nobody's listening. She yelling to the top of the lungs. He's yelling.
Yeah,
that's a clear sign that a Negro, or I don't care what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? This is what I feel, and you're going to hear what I feel. And when you find yourself in these situations, you got to do it. So let's circle it back because I know time is getting away. We'll circle it back so we won't lose focus. All right. I'm trying to say the list. Okay.
That was
ladies,
just the list,
y'all tell us what the list. So we identified the list. Adam asked earlier, what's the difference between the list and the expectations? And I said the list describes the who.
Right.
The timeline describes the when. When women find the who, and if they honestly like the who, the next thing in most women's mind is how should this, well, you know, I take that back. We don't have a clue about the timeline because what's in the woman's mind, we have no clue. Because her timeline could be yesterday.
Right.
Our timeline is, well, I'm gonna pay a few bills off and some things are feasible and figure this out. And the woman is like, look, this is what I thought by this time because my so-and-so is having a vacation in Antigua. And I thought while we was there, we can have an on-site destination. You just like,
wait, what?
So
when did that happen?
So no, but I'm serious. The timeline, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the timeline, Adam, carries more weight than the list and the expectations to me.
Okay.
Because the time, because women can the list can change. Like we said earlier, the list will change. If a woman gets older, the older she gets and she's single, that list will change, right? The one thing that won't change is typically a woman's timeline of what she wants to happen. That's the kind of more standardized thing. That timeline of what she either expects or would like to happen is pretty set. But the list can change. The expectations can change. You can have a certain expectation of things, and I could come home and say, here goes some Louis Vuitton perfume just for you, just because. Okay, you bought yourself some more time. I'm just making an example. I'm just making an example. Like I'm telling you, so the list expectations can change because they're both hinged upon emotions. They can change. The timeline is the life set. That's like a life setter.
So we're talking about the biological clock.
Yes, the time. Yes, the timeline is a life setter. All of my friends are married. All of my aunts and so and so are married. My best friend got engaged to you yesterday. So the timeline is constantly a constant. It's a thing that doesn't change. And so I think if anything, it's a tough conversation sometimes, right? The timeline can be tough. But I think most conversations and most relationships can be strengthened if they focus on understanding the timeline. Like you said earlier, why is it a timeline? What's it hinged upon?
Yeah.
What's influencing it? The problem is, and women, you all correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think a lot of times, like women typically want men to hear about the timeline and be agreeable to it. But in most times, a lot of women aren't open to the rebuttal you suggested, like asking them why, because in their mind, why not? It just should be. Yeah. So it's not a lot of room in their head to understand the why. You understand?
So I guess part of my I guess issue with the timeline and even the listening expectations is if it's only one-sided. Now again, let's have a real grown-up conversation about this. If we are in a relationship and it's you and me, it can't just be about your timeline. And it can't just be about your list. And it can't just be about your expectation. And I think this is the problem, right? That, that we get into relationships, and as Bruce has already said, she's got a silent agenda. And this is this on side. This is a side point right here. Often that agenda is not even publicized. She don't say what the agenda is, but she expects you to know what the agenda is. And that's some that's some foolishness to me. Maria will tell you, day one.
Yeah, I can't read your mind.
Day one, I ain't reading no minds. Wow. I know the Lord. I know the Lord speak to me. Yeah, but He's not gonna tell me what's on your mind. Wow. You're gonna tell me what's on your mind. Wow. So I think often some of these things are, again, not based in reality, especially if you ain't gonna open up your mouth and say something about it. Wow. What are we doing? What are we doing? You want me to know, but you don't want to tell me what you want me to know. You want me to figure it out. This ain't no Knives Out murder mystery. You following no clues, no contest clues up in here. You better open up your mouth and say what it is. The heck is going on, bro?
So here's the touchy thing about the timeline, Adam.
Yeah.
Marlena says everything with the timeline and expectations must be agreeable within the relationship. Now, my only pushback there in that particular statement is a lot of times when men give, I don't know if anybody else can be a witness to this, but when men give responses to a woman's projected timeline, if the timeline doesn't like, okay, in an ideal world, what she said is great if it's open, right? But let's just be honest. A lot of times a woman might say, well, honey, what were you, listen, I don't want to get serious, but let's just talk about it. What were you thinking about a time for us to kind of be together and come together? And let's just say the guy say something. Now he's just being honest. Now you asked him, and he says, well, I think we'll be in a pretty good position to do something like that. Probably about like 2.5, 3 years. Chalkboard screech. Listen, let's just be honest, if a lot of see, this is the part where we don't be honest. So we know, like Bruce said, we have a subliminal agenda with a subliminal expectation and a subliminal timeline.
Okay.
And the sad thing is, Adam, many men have been cut off without even knowing the expectation or the timeline.
True enough.
But you know why he got cut off? Because of something he said that didn't align with her expectations of time.
Right.
He might have told her a certain time frame, or when she threw something out there at him and he was like, well, no, I wasn't really thinking about that. Well, you know what? One thing I'm not going to do is play with my time. I'm out. So here's the thing. So listen, this gets me about this. Because the unfair thing, and ladies, don't throw rocks at me. I'm just trying to.
Oh, they already flying. Let's go.
All right. So I feel like when it gets to having discussions to fix things, to get them right, sometimes the timeline serves as a detractor, because it's difficult for us to have good, healthy communication if we can't remove the visibility of the timeline in front of our face. It's almost like saying, I'm trying to talk to you. I'm on this side of the timeline, you on that side. And I'm saying, can we just slide out the way from it? Why we got to slide it? It should stay right here. I'm just making an example. Right. So if we do this, and if we don't agree on the timeline, some women, not all, some women would rather move on rather than to fix.
Okay.
So rather than to fix the problem, identify it, we both take the ownership of the rise and the fall or the delays or whatever. Some women will say, I'm sorry, I don't have time for this, I'm moving on. And then the thing about moving on is you go from being at one position and one level with a person to ground zero and starting all over again. Because when you go to the next person, you may have someone. I'm not gonna lie and say that a woman can't leave a guy and go to another guy. He say, I'm gonna marry you tomorrow. But 9 times out of 10, he's not the man she wants. He's the man that's agreeable, but he's not the man that she wants.
Wow.
So it's funny enough, how women can tell you, they will all tell you, many men, they'll spin off a lot of guys who asked to marry them or they know probably would, but they're not interested in them.
Wow.
So, so when it comes to having those conversations, them questions you had were spot on. I think that it just needs to be communication. Like, why do you have your expectation? Why do you have this list? Why is it framed like this? Why do you have said expectations? Are they linked to someone else? Are they linked to trauma? Are they linked to power? What is this that we're in? Because honestly, this feels like a one-way highway that either I fit the shoes or I don't.
Or I don't. Yeah. Real talk.
So
Real
that's
talk.
what needs to happen. Have a fair conversation, because I haven't even thought of it like when the way you said it, when it's just like, when do we, is this negotiable to have discussion about it?
Right.
Or is it just, I think it comes across, and this is a good forum to kind of get an understanding, but I think, Adam, it comes across to men sometimes that women have a set agenda, and it's either you fit it or you don't. It's not necessarily open for discussion.
Okay.
Women can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but that's the way it comes across. I'm not saying it is.
That
but
is
it
right.
can come across
Comes
like,
across that way.
I have an idea of how this thing should play out. And either you're going to be the man that I believe that you are to play it out, or I'm sorry, honey, but you're going to have to dead this.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
So I'm going to say this real quick to that, and I'm going to jump to another point. If everybody's honest, men and women, let's be honest, I think we all have agendas when we step into relationships.
Good.
And if you don't, you're not human, and you're not alive.
Honest. Right.
Because if we're honest about it, when we all step into relationships, we all have agendas. Now, whether or not if that agenda is accomplished is dependent upon whether or not we are adjustable to that timeline or to that agenda, if you will. But so all of us have our thing. We all walk into it with our thing in terms of what we want to see, what we want to happen. Relationship goals.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to put it like that. I hate that,
Right.
man. I hate that so much. Relationship goals. Get out of here with that foolishness, man. But so here's my thing. I think when it comes to the timeline, I believe that you have to be adjustable with your timeline. Because if your timeline is a hard, fast timeline and there is no room to adjust that timeline, you are going to be by yourself.
Wow.
You're gonna be by yourself. Because there's no way we're gonna be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You're better off on your own. You're better off by yourself.
Wow.
If that's the case. Because life in and of itself is going to throw so much stuff at you that you're going to have to change it. And if you don't change it, it ain't going to happen. Reality. So especially if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody. And again, let me reiterate this point again, that you're not the only person in this relationship. So it's not just singularly about your list, and it's not singularly just about your timeline, and it's not just singularly about your expectation. It's about the both of us hopefully working together synergistically to accomplish our common goal, right? In regards to our timeline. And again, you have to allow for some reasonable adjustment to your time. You have to. You gotta. Otherwise, why are you even in a relationship with somebody else? Why? When you should be on your own. You should be on the Isle of Patmos.
Wow.
Seriously, you should be on the Isle of Patmos somewhere by yourself, because nobody else is going to be able to do what you want them to do in the time frame that you want them to do it in. No.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. You have to be, and I think this is just a standard rule in regards to relationship, that when you walk into a relationship, you ought to be prepared to make adjustment.
Oh,
if you walk into that relationship with your hard, fast expectations and nothing's going to change my timeline, and if you don't meet my list, well, I guess that's it. If you don't walk into the relationship willing to change, understanding that you're going to have to change in order to accommodate the person that you're with, then I don't understand what the point of this is. I don't, and I'm just trying to be honest and truthful with everybody. Because when I got into the relationship with Maria, I had to change. There were some things that I had to change in my thinking. There were some things that I had to change in my attitude. There were some things that I had to change in my dynamic in terms of how I move. Why did I have to do this? Because I had somebody else who was important to me, so important to me that I was willing to make that adjustment and accommodation for them.
Wow.
If you walk into the relationship without being able to adjust, you're not. It's not going to survive. It's not. It's not going to make it.
This is a great point. I look at this like this. And as you were talking, I was imagining. So let's think of it like this. If all men heard their women's, like, okay, you met her list, you were agreeable to her timeline, and you met her expectations. So what happens is you have a husband that had just basically obliged your desires and neglected his. So it's like you get yours up front.
Right.
He shows you his resentment on the back end.
On the back end, yeah. That's what
and this is why you need to make sure you have the conversation. It's all fair for a woman to say, this is what I would like. This is my timeline. This is how my thought process is.
Right.
But it's equally as fair to say, what do you think? Does that jive with you?
Right.
And give space for the answer.
Yeah.
Don't get mad when the
Yeah.
person say something that initially may not jive with what you were thinking.
Yeah.
It's a two-sided affair.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, a lot of men have married women out of psychological obligation
Wow.
because they loved her. They didn't want to lose her,
Right.
but she had a strong grasp on her list, on her timeline, and her expectation. And he probably felt, I ain't gonna find no more better than this, so let me do it right now. And
Right.
then when he gets married, like you mentioned earlier, he didn't get a chance to express himself
Right.
and really show what he wanted or
What
didn't
he
want.
wanted.
And so I married you to oblige you, but now it's like now I'm resentful because you allowed me to do so without even hearing my own heart.
Charles, you remember? I don't know if you saw that video on YouTube. I saw this video on YouTube about this the guy who finally proposes to his girlfriend, and after the proposal, his face completely just goes, "Oh, I only proposed to get her off my back."
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, wow.
And see, that's sometimes what happens,
Yeah.
right? That that like you said, they feel obligated to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not coming from a place of love completely. Yeah, it might be love, but more likely than not, it's a sense of, oh, I gotta do this, not that I want to do this, which is a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this. This is my own disclaimer, random opinion.
Uh-oh.
Me personally, I feel like, okay, people will say, yes, I need to have expectations because I need he or she to know what I expect in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're honest, a lot of times when we give our expectations, we also give a playbook.
Okay.
Expectations are really just adaptable playbooks led by you. So when you tell me what you need, I'm adjusting them like an equalizer.
Okay. Yeah.
I personally feel like if we don't talk about expectations, you get from a person what they are willing to give you. And you get to see at that point whether it works for your life or not. This doesn't have to be a drawn out thing.
Right.
But when you throw expectations at people, they feel the pressure to meet your obligations. And now they find ways to maneuver in and around your expectations, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, to try and please you, right? They'll maneuver to please you. But I always say, I don't want anything that I have to coerce from someone.
Yeah.
I want what someone freely gives me.
Really gives.
I don't want to coerce. I don't like if I sit there and press you to the corner and make you feel bad, get in an argument and tell you all these things. Yeah, I'm gonna say, okay, let's just get married or whatever that looks like, right? Because I'm coerced. But what you want to see, like when you don't throw all those things on a person, the benefit is you see what they genuinely have for you, not what you siphon out of them.
Right.
You want to see what a person genuinely has for you, not what you got to pull and manipulate out of them to get them to the altar to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to make sure the person wants you for you, not you for your rules.
Right.
Some men marry because we like rules.
Wow.
We marry women that throw out rules because they look like structure, but we don't like her. So, and then we find ourselves regretting what we did because we didn't give ourselves a chance to allow the rules and the structure to catch up with the like.
Right.
So we got to be able to have that position to be fair, allow us to speak our heart without repercussion. That's why men don't talk a lot. That's why they don't tell you how they really feel, because we know if we say something that doesn't jive, it's going to hurt feelings. And if you hurt feelings, you're going to get a swift reaction.
Oh yeah, it's going to
be swift and quick and cut. And so we rather stay on the nice side, you know. And then lastly, how you know, I'm gonna tell you when you need to know when there's a call to action to address the timeline.
Okay.
When you're involved in something and there's a call to action, Bruce, to address the timeline, when you have an argument, it's been 2 years. Well, who agreed to 2 years? You did.
Wow.
I'm just making an example.
Okay.
Like you'll hear people say in arguments when some things are going on, they're going to throw time at you.
Mhm.
But it's time they have it amassed in their mind. But
Right.
it's not agreed upon.
They're keeping the clock.
So yeah, somebody's keeping the clock, but it's not a clock. Our watches are not synchronized.
Right.
You
right,
got a
right.
watch, then mine's on a different one. So
Mm.
we gotta be fair. And so when you throwing those times out there, those things are psychological lashes. Because when
Mhm.
you're telling the man that, obviously, if he's protecting, providing, obliging, he doesn't want to disappoint you.
Right.
So now he's saying, it was okay, like Eddie Murphy. It's okay. And now how can I oblige you 2 years? I'm just making an example. And he's giving you what you really don't want. You don't want the sympathy marriage.
Mm.
You want the joyful, willing marriage. You don't
Right.
want no man giving you no sympathy vows.
Sympathy, right.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Like he been drafted in the army, and now he gotta fulfill
that.
his selective service duty.
I'm telling you, man. So
4
this
years,
thing-
baby.
I'm telling you. So that's why I'm saying it makes
Oh,
if we don't take nothing from this, it's definitely smart to have your timeline, your expectation, your list. Have at it. Make
Mhm.
sure the list is healthy. Make sure the list is founded soundly.
Mhm.
Make sure the timeline is agreeable.
Mhm.
Make sure the expectations have been discussed.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
fair. Open up a safe space for your person to voice their opinions or rebuttals
Right.
without the fear of lashback.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be
Yeah,
halfway okay.
Yeah. So let me just drop this one last
Okay.
thing, and I think we probably get
Okay.
ready to go. And that is, this is something I said at the beginning of the show, one of the questions that I had, and that was, okay, so we value her expectations, but does she value her partner's expectations as much as she values her own? And I think that's important because, again, this is not a one-way street when it comes to relationships. This is a two-way street. I also have expectations. I also walked into the relationship with expectations, just like you walked into the relationship with expectations. And I think the only way that this relationship works is that we value each other's expectations. Again, it can't just be about you, because if it was just about you, you don't need me. Or
Wow.
what you need is a mirror.
Wow. Hey, really quick before we go, Adam,
Yeah.
give the people or the men or the women, both of them need to hear it, an example. It don't have to be yours specifically of a man's expectation. And I'm only saying this because I promise you, more women feel more so. A lot of women feel that we don't necessarily have the same expectations, right?
We don't. We should.
So it's like, the women are guiding us to the end, right? They're in their mind. They have the guide. You just need to be agreeable and go along, right? So, but I don't think they are used to hearing that side from us. Like, what does an expectation look like for a woman, for a guy that's saying, hey, I heard what you said. I know you need this from me, but this is what I need from you.
Okay. So I'm gonna do what you just did. I have an expectation of no retaliation when I speak from truth and honesty. And I just want, that's what my expectation is, right? That when I say what I need to say out of my heart and I show you my vulnerable side, my expectation is not to be attacked.
Wow.
Because it might make you feel some kind of way, but rather to give me that safe space to be able to say what's in my heart and mind. Because you're right, Charles, a lot of times men don't say what they need to say for fear for what will happen afterward. Not only that, Bruce, but the fact that they will weaponize what I share and use it against me in a court of law later. So I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Wow.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be quiet. Mum's the word. And so that's an example of an expectation. I expect for my wife to show me affection. Simple, right? That's an example of an expectation. And so I think my sister Valerie said it earlier. I think communication is the key, right?
Yeah, that's an
And
expectation.
communication is going to be the thing that diffuses and dismisses the fog of misunderstanding. It's going to help us to come to a place of clarity where we understand what each other needs.
Yeah.
That I'm going to listen to you when you talk. Not only am I going to hear you, but I'm going to listen with the intention of understanding you. Okay. And so communication is absolutely paramount. It is the bedrock of what we're trying to do. If we don't have communication, we ain't got jack.
Yeah.
Real talk. We ain't got jack.
I would say we need to do more losing the agenda and building the communication.
Okay.
Because I would rather form a mutual agenda than live off of silent ones that I don't know exist.
Absolutely. That's why I said at the beginning, the day one, I'm not reading your mind. You're going to have to explain to me in detail what it is you want. Wow. And give me the opportunity to say whether or not I can or can't do that. And again, I think that's just an honest place, right? And I think often we get upset with the person. Okay, you've expressed what you want, you've expressed what your expectation is, but then that person might not necessarily have the ability, the capacity, the competence to be able to do what you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
Accept them for who they are with their limitations. Okay. Wow. And then adjust your expectations accordingly. Let your expectations and your timeline and your list be based in reality, not fantasy.
That's good. All right.
Just saying.
Well, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in yet again to another episode of Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. So we'll definitely be back at y'all again next week. And as promised at the top of the show, I'm going to drop that video I talked about earlier in the show about the whole, church thing that I think is Lord good to people to watch. But anyway, aside from anything else you got, Mr. Ford?
No, we just looking like some DJs right now up in here. Y'all see us? We're some like some DJs up in here.
Yeah, we're moving up to the late night hour. And
here we go.
Come on, Bruce, a late night episode.
Y'all know what's coming.
Yeah, right. So other than that, we appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Yeah, we do.
Keeping us locked. We trying to do better and bring a better energy and all of the things about everything to make this better. We appreciate y'all.
We're gonna do it up in 2026. That's what we're doing. We're gonna do it up in 2026.
For sure.
Yeah. Real talk.
All right, y'all. Be safe.
All right.
All right. Anyway, so So last but not least, coercion is unattractive.
Depending on the situation.
Oh,
I'm about to get in trouble. Let me go.
In this instance, maybe not the midnight hour instance, but in this instance,
situational.
Situational coercion. But in this instance, You crazy? We done lost. Oh, just forget it. You know, let's just end the show. This is
I'm about to be in so much trouble, Lord have mercy.
oh God. Anyway, I was trying to say that coercion can sometimes be unattractive because of what coercion does. It says I may not quite see my value the way I need to. Because if I did, I wouldn't have to coerce you.
Right.
So, all right. Anything else, Mr. Ford? You good?
No, man, I'm good.
No
bro.
B-side. You was ready to get in trouble.
You just did the B. Oh, I just did the B side.
Yeah, the B. Oh, he would have you all dropping his voice
situation.
on the
That's right.
Oh,
dropping it low.
all right, y'all. See y'all next week.
You're about to be live in 2026.
Right, and listen. This is a great kickoff to the new year. We want to everybody to keep it positive as possible. No drama, no toxic, no fighting. Positivity as much as possible. I know it's real life. We got feelings and emotions, but always err on the side of I forgive you. You'll be all right. And let's move forward.
Well, I can't make no promises, but I'm working on it.
Oh, all right then.
Bye. Peace, y'all.